Hi, Megan, and welcome.
Hey.
How are you feeling right now?
Oh, super stressed. And, I'm glad I came in. It's just, honestly, it feels like another thing I have to do.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, if I could magically get rid of some of my tasks, I wouldn't feel like that. It's more just the time commitment and driving here 30 minutes and, I'm just so busy right now.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's one more thing to do, but I think it's important. It's important to check in on where you're at, and we can get a lot done here. I really believe that. Um,
Okay. Oh, okay.
so just to recap, to start with what we were doing last time. You came in and we did basically sort of run through a few different assessments. Um, things that we're assessing: depression level, anxiety level, substance abuse stuff,
Mhm.
and we went over the results briefly at the end of that session, um, but I wanted to take some time this session to review those results a little bit more in depth, and to ask you some questions about those, um, and also take some time to, just for me, to gather some more background information, um, just to see, more about like your family and where you're coming from and all that kind of stuff, the contextual information that's really important to giving you the help you need. Um,
Okay.
so so what we'll do is we'll start with that kind of stuff. I'll do some, just ask you some questions about your history and stuff like that, and then we'll wrap up with just get touching base on some of those assessments that we did last time. Um, so so I'm just going to go through, and there's kind of like a bunch of questions I'll ask you, and feel free to be as brief or as elaborate as you want in your response. It's definitely important that I get the best information that I can. So please,
Okay.
as honest as you can be
Sure.
with me. It's just so much more helpful that way. So,
Mhm, mhm. That
um,
makes sense.
yeah, and some of these questions are really simple. So, like, so how old are you, Megan?
Oh, I'm 41.
41.
Hmm.
And you're married?
Yes. Yes. I've been married for 18 and a half years.
18 and a half years. Sorry, I'm just going to turn my volume up here. 18 and a half years. Wow.
Yep, we were young.
So you would have been how old when you got married?
23.
I can't do math very quickly, but
And
um,
he's 11 months older, so he was 24.
okay. But you guys are roughly the same age. Um, and so you guys have kids together?
Yes, we have three girls.
Three girls. Oh, nice. And what are
That's
their
yes.
ages?
Um, 13, 9,
13, 9,
and 6.
and 6. Okay, nice. Those are some good ages.
They
Um,
are. They
yeah.
are. We're well beyond the diaper phase, which is really nice. It's a
Yes.
lot of fun. Yeah.
um, so, and with the girls, like, how are they doing in general? What's their, you know, are they adjusting to school and stuff like that? Or
Um, yeah. So, my youngest daughter just started kindergarten, and she's doing pretty well with it. My I gave the wrong ages. I guess it doesn't matter.
that's okay.
My other daughter is in second grade, and then the oldest one is in sixth grade.
Yep.
So their ages are actually, yeah, okay, 6, 9, and 12. It's fine.
6, 9, 12. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Um, do you have so just to ask you some questions about your family history? Do you have any history in your family of mental illness or depression, anxiety? Yeah, you do?
Yes. Um, so my mom's side of the family, they all had depression.
Oh,
It
wow.
wasn't a very big family. I mean, I don't know about the extended family. They probably, some of them probably did, but I know my grandmother, grandfather, and their two daughters, my mom and my aunt, have all had depression.
Okay. That's all on your mom's side.
All the mom's side. Hmm.
Eh, how did their depression sort of manifest? Was it like severe or
Um,
mild?
well, so my mom, I don't know. It's more, so my grandparents didn't have a very good marriage.
Okay.
Help wasn't really available or even a thing, much of a thing then.
Yeah,
They had very difficult childhoods.
I see.
My aunt has been on medication quite a few times. Uh,
Okay.
she doesn't live close to us, though. A lot of crying, typical depression stuff.
Okay.
My mom, she would cry a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But, you know, one of my brothers was born with a lot of problems.
Okay.
So he had a difficult birth, and he has a mild brain injury. Um, and
Yeah.
so he's
That can
always
be real.
had, yeah, it's kind of ruined his life, honestly. Um, although he's been doing better lately, which is
That's really
wonderful.
good. Yeah.
Yes, it's like chains falling off of all of us, honestly.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Um, but my mom, she cried a lot when I was a kid, and it was so stressful having him. It's not his fault. It's not our fault, but
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then, so I developed an anxiety disorder really young, like in elementary school. But I kept it all inside. Like my parents didn't know I was so anxious.
Okay.
But it was very stressful just having my brother's problems. And
Hmm.
then I started getting depression in late high school. And also, so there are four of us. My other two siblings also had trouble with depression at different times.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, what about substance abuse in your family
Not
history?
really. No. My grandmother was an alcoholic for a bit when her own mother died, and
Okay.
that's when her depression was worse. But that was for like a couple of years. It was more situational.
Okay. So
Yeah.
not it wasn't like throughout her life she was an alcoholic. She went through it.
Well, she was addicted to cigarettes,
Okay.
and I know that was extremely common for the era. And she died from
Right.
lung cancer.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's on your mom's side? That
Yeah, we have
okay.
the crappy genes from them.
Well, so what about your dad's side?
Oh, they didn't seem to have any problems.
Okay. So it's
They
sort
were
of like,
six
yeah.
kids on that side of the family. All of them turned out normal. I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it's quite a contrast,
Yeah, it is.
actually.
Yeah. Um, okay. So just a little bit more background on you. What's your educational background? Like what do you do for
Oh,
a living?
well,
What do you what are you
um,
trained in and things like that?
my bachelor's is in piano performance.
Oh wow.
Not very practical, that's for sure, but I enjoyed getting it. And now I'm a master's student.
Okay. Um, so do you still play piano?
Well, not as much as I'd like to. I mean, I start pieces and then things get busy with the kids or with this master's program. Ugh, and I have hardly touched it because I'm getting the house ready to sell on my own right now.
Oh, okay.
That's a huge part of my anxiety level. So we're a Navy family, and my husband has been in Saudi Arabia. It's a year-long commitment.
I see.
Yeah.
So he's in the Navy and that he's stationed over there.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
With us. Leave the room. Go ahead. Go away.
Wait, is that
There, just close the door, please. Go downstairs.
okay?
And my kids get too much media lately.
Okay. Over media,
I
kid.
feel like kind of a crappy parent lately. Because, I mean, there's only me. Like, I have family in the
Right.
area. Most Navy families don't have that, but I actually have both of my parents and then my in-laws in the area. Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. So, and you talked about this last time when we were doing the assessments, but that,
Mhm.
you know, your husband being away is a major stress in your life right now.
It's
And
the biggest stress.
it's the biggest stress, yeah.
Biggest stress.
And then additionally, you're selling your house. So that's like,
Yes.
and he's not there to support that. So it's like,
That's right. That's right. And then the most stressful thing, even more than him being gone, although it's related to it, my oldest daughter has just fallen apart.
okay.
She started out the year with all A's. First half, she had all A's, and I didn't help her with that at all. She did all on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And then she started getting panic attacks. She never had panic attacks before. And so she's just in a constant state of anxiety and tension.
Wow.
And her grades have fallen apart. And it's been horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's like an additional thing on top of the other stuff.
Yeah,
You know,
I guess I should say that is the most stressful thing.
oh,
because
okay.
Her and how she's doing. Because
Okay.
I feel like I'm just holding her up. And
Mm,
even though I have family in the area, I mean, she and my husband have a great relationship. And he talks to her on FaceTime and stuff, but it's not the same.
right.
So
Yeah.
she's just really unsettled because he isn't there and he's a big part of her security.
Right. That
So,
makes sense. And that's, you know, you as the co-parent, that's really hard for you to fill that gap,
well,
that
it can't
role.
be her dad. I'm not
Exactly.
her dad.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, she'll have these big panic attacks, like the worst one. I was out doing errands with the younger two, and she called me in a panic. And she said, Mom, I was doing the computer, and all of a sudden I just started screaming. And I was like, what? So I rushed home, and she was lying on the floor in the fetal position, crying.
Yeah.
And their head on, oh, she didn't have her head on a pillow. I got a pillow for her. And I put a blanket around her. And I just hugged her literally for 40 minutes. And finally she calmed down. It was pretty dramatic.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. I mean, you're an amazing mother in the sense, you know, you're holding her for that long, and that's amazing. And it's just such a challenge to be, you know, have your partner away.
Yeah, and the thing is, you know, at least he hasn't died, or, you know, it's not like we got divorced and he's a bad parent or anything, but still, I guess I'm just trying to make it until he returns July 21st. That's the date. And we're at the end of April right now.
So yeah, a little bit longer.
Yeah. And
I mean, it seems like, sorry to interrupt. It seems like you guys have a really good relationship though, despite being far apart. That you guys are tight.
Oh, he's really nice. And you know, some military couples, like I'm in a Facebook group. I'm in a few Facebook groups for them. And one of them was like, yeah, you know, it's fine when my husband goes overseas. It's just easier that way. And I thought to myself, what are you going to do when he gets out of the military? You know?
That is, yeah. Interesting.
But he's really nice. He's very helpful. He's good at cooking. I'm not. I mean, I'm okay, but I don't like it. He's very mellow and cheerful, and you know, life is just kind of easier when he's around.
Well, that's really good. That's really special that you guys you have that. So
it really is. I think that's why we got married that young, because you know, I found the
It
person.
worked. Yeah, it works.
It did. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's great. So we talked a little bit about some of your mental health history, just with, when you were a kid, what you were telling me was that you suffered from anxiety as a child, maybe due with your brother's illness,
Yes.
being
Yes.
related to that. And then as you became a teenager, depression came on a little bit.
Well, I started to panic because
Panic attacks,
I
right?
think I was too enmeshed in the family dynamics.
Mm,
Even though my mom tried to, you know, oh, okay. Even though my mom tried to prevent that in the siblings. Um, so when it came time to going off to college, um, I panicked because, well, it took me a long time to become more resilient. Honestly, I didn't become more resilient until I was in like my early 30s. I mean, it was a process.
yeah.
So, I've been on antidepressants. I had postpartum depression after all of the pregnancies. It was pretty severe after my first daughter was born because I didn't know what was going on. And
Right.
we just moved to South Carolina where we were away from our support system.
Yep.
So, yes, it was severe. Like I had ideations and everything.
I
Um,
see.
yeah, yeah. Like I didn't have a plan. I didn't have that, but like anyway. Um, so I've been on antidepressants quite a bit. I'm still on something, very low dose.
Okay.
And I would get off of it if my husband weren't in the military, but the lifestyle's so stressful with him having to be gone. This was the longest he's ever had to be gone, though. This is not typical for us. Um, but, I can't get off of it because I feel like someone has to be the same person here at home. And then there's the whole moving component, too. So
Hmm. Yeah.
there are a lot of military spouses on a low dose of an SSRI.
Yeah. It's a
For
big
the
stressor to have him
Yeah,
away. And
yeah.
how long have you been on antidepressants? You said you've kind of been on and off, but how long currently?
Well, a long time.
Okay.
And I used to feel like kind of deficient because I was on it. But then,
Yeah.
I started thinking, well, that's silly. It really helps me. And what's not to love about that?
Yeah.
Plus, I do get concerned the long-term effects, but I feel like, well, I'd rather have a happy life right now and just think about that later on.
Yeah.
I first went on it when I just turned 18,
Right. Okay.
and the anxiety had gotten a lot worse. So I told my mom, and it was a very hard decision for her, but she brought me right into a psychiatrist,
Yeah.
and I went on something, Blue Box, and it helped significantly.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
it was like magic, you know.
Wow. Yeah. That's great.
So I got off of it to because I didn't want to be on anything when I was pregnant. Like I know some people have to be, but I
Yeah.
felt like if I can do without it, I'm gonna go that route. Um, so after our first daughter was born, um, I had been off of an antidepressant probably for like 2 years.
Okay.
It was okay without it. It was not great, but it wasn't bad. Um, it was better than not great. But yeah, so I went on something 6 months after she was born. When it really became unavoidable that I could not possibly go on without some kind of medical intervention. And I went to counseling too. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
And you're currently seeing a psychiatrist?
No, I'm only on 5 milligrams
Right.
and I just get it through my PCP now.
Okay.
I initially went to a psychiatrist
Right.
for PPD because it was so serious that even though I was in such bad shape, I had the presence of mind to think I need to see someone that's really specialized.
Yeah.
for that. And it worked. The SSRI works great for me, and now I just get it through my regular doctor.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for sharing that. My next question is just about any pertinent like medical history that I should know about. Just sometimes people have had like a traumatic car accident or something like that that might be really important for me as your counselor to know
Um,
about.
no. Well,
Nothing.
not a car accident. I have had some thyroid issues.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Those were related to, so I had postpartum thyroiditis.
Mm-hmm.
That really made things crazy after my first daughter was born because I didn't know why I was only getting like 3 hours of sleep because I
Wow.
had
Yeah.
hyperthyroid, and I was afraid that I had become bipolar because sometimes that can happen.
Oh
Um,
wow.
in
Okay.
the but fortunately, it was just the thyroid. And after each pregnancy, I get it, and it's no fun. So, but my endocrinologist said probably in my 40s I'll probably develop it like permanently.
Mm.
So low thyroid. So
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know. I try not to think about that too much.
Yeah, but that's sort of the something that you've been working with your doctors with about. So,
Yes.
so that's important for me to know about. So,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
okay, cool. So, you know, anything else, just in general, that you think would be pertinent for me to know about going on in your life currently, or family stuff, or
Well, just we are moving, and
yes,
we're going to be
moving.
moving to the other side of the country,
Okay, that is pertinent.
and that is a huge amount of stress for my daughter because she's just got too much going on. Like she's a preteen with all of the fun that brings.
Yep.
My husband's overseas, and so there's that huge thing. And we're moving, and we've been very unusual for a military family because we've been able to be in Massachusetts, which is our home area, for almost 9 years.
Okay. Yeah.
She's gone to the same school since kindergarten. She's a great group of friends this year. Um, so it's pretty intense right now.
Yeah, for everybody to get up and move across the country is a big deal.
Yes.
Um, yeah, that seems important. Um, okay, so let's just, we've got about a little more than 5 minutes here. Um,
Oh,
but I just want to go touch base on some of the assessments that we did last time,
okay.
um, and just let you know sort of what my take is on it, and maybe ask you a little bit about that too. So, um, oh, I cannot minimize. Sorry. All right. Um, so one of the things we did was we did an anxiety inventory, um, and so you registered at a low level for anxiety. You know the
That
the
kind
th-
of surprises me.
yeah. I mean, it's not like at the bottom, but mid or like on the lower side. And some of the things that you mentioned that were sort of more in the moderate side of the scale were about
Okay.
your fear of the worst happening, just generally being
Right.
afraid and
And,
nervous.
and I think what is helpful to me is I'm able to have the perspective that this situation is time limited. So
Right.
when he comes back, it's going to be much easier, and I'm just trying to hold out until then.
Yeah. So I guess that's yeah. So that's where your anxiety comes from, is sort of when he's going to come back and stuff. So um, yeah, and so lower on the anxiety scale. And then the other one we did was um, a depression inventory, um, where you rated it more of a moderate level for depression. So
Oh,
a little bit lower on the anxiety, a little bit higher on the depression inventory. Um, you know, and this sort of indicates that, you know, things are maybe slowing down for you a little bit, sort of lower energy and things like that came up on this.
Well, I'm tired, you know. I mean, I've been doing this without him for 9 months, and I'm just tired.
Yeah. So it's just been a lot for you to juggle. I mean, even what you were describing with your daughter, like dealing with, you know, your older daughter's um, stuff, like that you are the sole parent who's
Mm-hmm.
taking care of that situation. And so it makes sense that, you know, you've got all these things that you're juggling, all these things that are happening, and you are the sole person responsible for that. So, I mean,
Yes, it's kind of crushing.
yeah, there's a, you know, it can be draining, those, you know, all those different responsibilities in life. So it's not surprising that you are registering at a moderate to me for the depression. You know, also, I feel like, yeah, so I think that's just something I wanted to touch base on, is that moderate depression. Um, and then on the substance abuse exam that we did, you scored at like, again, like a lower level for substance abuse, but just you know, that you did mention that you had been having like a glass of wine every single night, which
Yeah.
when you do these exams, that it's going to rate that like pretty highly, or weight that in terms of,
Sure.
you know, abuse, because it is, you know, using alcohol every day that is a consistent form of abuse.
It's kind of
in
a
some ways.
crutch.
Yeah, it's not like you're not totally abusing alcohol, like, you know, like you could be, obviously.
Yeah.
We're not talking about something where you're just totally drunk all the time or something like that.
No.
But it is important that, you know, we want to note this, that, you know, that you're suffering from depression, and then maybe you're using alcohol a little bit right now, but we just want to monitor that. You know, it's important that doesn't become more of a thing. So anything else you wanted to mention about that, about using the way you use alcohol?
I guess the thing is, I never used to be like this before, and so I really like wine. I just love how it tastes. Before, I used to have it maybe like a glass, like 2 or 3 times a week, kind of thing. Like if we were having a steak.
Right. Like with dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, but now it's gotten unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like to the point where when I'm in the grocery store and I see wine on sale for $6, it's like, ooh, well, I need to put that in my cart. And then if it has like a screw top, I've even thought to myself, oh, I can get to the wine faster that way. And that's not healthy. So, like, at the end of the day, even though they're in school, they come home and they have homework and then the emotional needs, as I've mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
By the time it comes to like 9 at night, I want to escape.
Right.
And so I have a glass or two, and it's like I've escaped.
Yeah.
Again, it's not healthy. I don't want to. I never thought that I would be that kind of person.
Right. And
whatever that person was like, I didn't think that would be me.
Well, that's really cool that you acknowledge that. Not a lot of people are willing to acknowledge those kind of problems, even in the small way that it's developing for you. It's a lot of people, you know, struggle with that acknowledgement part. So that's really, really cool. So I think that's pretty much. I just wanted to cover some of these bases and get some more background information, go over some of the assessments again. And just say, you know, we're going to work on, you know, the depression and the substance abuse, and even as minor as it is, like we're going to, you know, you coming into therapy, I think will help. You know, we'll figure out ways for you to alleviate some of the stress and stuff like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
in all kinds of other ways, you know.
And I think it would help me feel less alone too.
Yeah, and that's really important and valuable. So
Yes. Uh-huh.
so we'll meet again, and I look forward to that, Megan.
Great. Thanks so much.